So how to buy apartments in the next 90 days with limited out-of-pocket capital. How do you do this? And my promise to you is just that. How to buy, say, a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal where it's not too big, it's not too small, it's right in that pocket zone where you can execute. So people ask me all the time, they say, Justin, like, why 10 to 30 unit deals? Because I hear all over the place, go bigger for your first ones. No. All of you just told me you're novices, which means you haven't done it before. So for you trying to go any bigger than that on your first deal, you might as well try and go to the White House and break in tonight. It ain't going to happen. That's the point I'm trying to make. So you don't do that. The reason why you're starting here is because it's more bite-sizable. If you're going to be raising any money, bite-sizable. You don't have a track record, bite-sizable. The brokers, the lenders, the sellers, people will work with you. They're expecting more of a newbie. They're not expecting somebody with some massive resume to go execute at this space. It's more mom and pop-ish. That's why you do it. You get your feet wet on your first deal, your second deal, and then your third one. By your third one, you'll probably be 50 plus unit deal. 50 plus unit deal. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense. Thumbs down if that sucks. But that's the whole point I get on that. So my promise to you tonight is how to do that. But more importantly, how do you do it with $20,000 out of pocket? But this is the money game that everybody needs to understand, because you have a couple options when you do this. This is usually what stops people, because they think like a single family investor that if I need to go buy real estate, I need to do it with my own money, in all of my own money. That is option A. How many people feel that option A was the best route when you're thinking about real estate, because you're like, well, I don't have all the money, therefore I can't take the next steps, or I don't have a track record, or I've never done this before, or I don't know how to raise money, I don't have anybody that knows any money, I don't have any, you create all these limiting beliefs that we're going to break through tonight, all of them, okay? But that's critically important. So option A is to do it all with your own money. You're only going to get so far with that. I know that process very well, because that is how we started. Then I began to learn this, option B, the game of money, other people's money. And then people I hear all the time, well, nobody will want to invest with me. I don't have a track record. Nobody will invest with me. Why would they invest with me? Why would they do this? Why would they do that? All the negative stuff that goes in people's minds. You're forgetting it. Everybody wants to invest in real estate. That is not your problem. Everybody on here tonight, you're here because you want to invest in real estate. You just don't know how to start and where to go and how to actually do this and execute. So the problem is not finding investors. The problem is finding a good deal that makes financial sense, okay? And then having a process by way to bring it through. But you need a good deal first, right? It goes deal, debt, equity. Deal, debt, equity, in that order. It doesn't go debt and equity or debt and money first. It goes deal first. Because if it's a good deal, it will drive the money. It will attract the money. Trust me. I've tried to mess with that pattern. Doesn't work. Deal, debt, equity. The money will find you if you have a good deal. Trust me. Because people that know people know people know people. Money likes making money. It likes making money fast. And it loves real estate because it's tangible and it's cash flow driven, right? You're lowering the risk by when you're doing apartments. That's how the game works. So option A or option B? Which one would you guys like to learn more about tonight? I'm guessing, full disclaimer, you will not automatically become a millionaire tonight by getting one apartment deal between now and the end of the year, but you will be setting yourself up for your future you, right? Your future you. Because many people, and this is kind of why I love helping out, because maybe you're in a 9 to 5, don't really like it. You're trading time for money. You're working for the man, as they say, and you're making them rich, you're making them money, but you're not really doing it for yourself. So people get frustrated with that. They want more time, right? Freedom, time to choose. When you wake up in the morning, do you get to have a cup of coffee and figure out what you're going to do for the day? Or do you have to like boom, 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 get to work, and right, take the kids and and you're in a cubicle at 8:30 a.m., right? Is it that type of environment? Or maybe obviously you're doing work from home environments, but you still have to check in, that whole game. Is it that game, which people are fine with until a certain point in their life? They're like, dude, I want more. I want to get out of that transactional hamster wheel. I want to get out of that game of working for the man. I want to start working for myself, start putting money away. Maybe you're making decent money in a 9 to 5 position. So I'm curious with that. Let me put in that because I'd like to know kind of the inner workings of like, why are you really here tonight? Okay. Why are you really here tonight? I'm going to launch this. You're going to see this poll pop up because this is really what gets to the depth of what you're doing, right? Multifamily is simply a tool. It's a mechanism to make a lot of money, but the money is simply right. It's a choice. Money gives you choices. But I'm curious, like, really, why are you here tonight? Is it because you're tired? Maybe you're mad about your current situation. You thought you'd be a little further along in life. You want help. You want to level up. You know that multifamily is a way to get there. You just don't know how to start. Or maybe you're just curious about multifamily. You're not sure really what yet. And or the other option is, hey, I make decent money right now in my job, but I want more time with my kids, my family, more money, generational wealth, as they call it. And you're tired of the rat race. Tired of the rat race. Curious kind of where people stand. Because that's really the deeper pain and the motivation that drives people to make changes and leaps in their life. They're tired of the bullshit and they're ready to go. And it's just a matter of like, okay, how do I get there? Right? How do I get started? How do I build that engine, right? The locomotive that starts moving and gaining momentum. How do we do that? Because maybe the time is now. Time is ripe to make that happen. So very cool. But yeah, let me go ahead and end this. I'm going to share this with you. Pretty even Steven between 1 and 3, meaning you're tired and you're mad and you make decent money, but you want some other options. You want some other options. So that's sharing that with you. You can see almost dead on. I mean, literally dead on. I love that. That's great. I appreciate everybody sharing that. Okay, let me go and stop sharing that and let's get back to it. But yeah, that's the deeper motivation of why you're here tonight, why you're even doing it. But I knew that I wanted to be a millionaire, right? Has anybody ever done this calculation for yourself, like what $1 million in actual income looks like on a per day? It's $2,379 a day. That is literally what $1 million a year looks like. So currently, as we speak, and actually it's larger than that now, it's 1,100 units. Whoops. Well, technically, fix that. It's 1,144. It was 1,100. I'm sorry, it was 1,000. Then we just closed on 144 units. Now it's 1,144 units. So currently 1,144 units and over 100, and this is 193 million now. In real estate, multifamily, and our goal is to head towards $1 billion in assets and about 10,000 units. That's where I'm trying to go. So what this does, like I was talking to you earlier, does come down to your motivation. But I do want to get something in your head. You can do this. You are smart enough. You got this. Because a lot of people, you have these limiting beliefs that you're wondering, like, can I do this? Am I smart enough? Do I got this? And the answer is 100%. Right? I mean, I can tell you my story. When I'm sitting there, I'd never done this game I'm about to show you. And I'm sitting there freaking out, like, can I do this? And then it took one conference. Literally one conference I went to. I sat in an audience for 3,000 people. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these very successful people, like making a lot of money, doing multifamily. And I'm like, holy crap, if these people can pull this off, I mean, right? There's no reason this guy can't. So there's just, just that limiting belief system started unraveling and it was good. But that interior motivation is key. And you guys gave me your motivation. You're pissed off. You're tired. Well, how pissed off and how tired are you? Right? Do you want this as bad as you want to breathe? You ever seen that video on YouTube? Right? There's that one where the guy's like walking him out and he's treading water. He says, how bad do you want to be successful? And he's like, I want to be successful. He said, how bad do you want to be successful? How bad do you want to be successful? Then he grabs the back of his neck and he throws him in the water and he holds him down. He holds him down. He holds him down. He holds him down. And the guy is just frailing. He's just going crazy. He's nuts. He's going to die. He's going to completely suffocate in the water at the beach. Right? And he gets to the point where he's literally going to die and he pulls him up out of the water. And he says, you will never be successful until you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe. And the guys, you can see it, right? Because that's how bad, right? But when you do it and you put your mind to it, that's when it happens. So you just got to set it in your mind right now. This is going to happen. I am going to make this happen, period. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for myself. I want this to happen. I'm going to send the frequencies out in the universe and let's go execute. And just put it in the frontal cortex to your brain and go. Right? And don't worry about all the how. The how will show up. The how will show up for you. Put it in your brain and let's go. But I started with one condo. Literally, this is the MLS shot of the condo for $100,000 in 2010. $25,000 down. We got a Wells Fargo loan for 75 grand. This was right in the midst of the financial crisis. The thing cash flowed 570 bucks a month. I mean, not a lot of like money, but from a percentage basis, it was fabulous. Like if you're looking at like a metrics of cash on cash, it was great, right? But from money, wasn't that great, but it was not bad. But 570 a month pure cash flow is good. It's a good start. But then from there, I went right through the 2008 financial crisis. Does anybody remember that? Right? It's a pretty nasty time. If any of you guys kind of remember that, I mean, I went right through the heart of it, and it was pretty wild. I watched my dad go through a massive bankruptcy. He was kind of that transitional character in our family that hit it big, made it big. And I'm a third generation real estate, investor guy. I learned from my grandmother a bit, and then my dad a lot, but watched him go through a lot, right? 4 different real estate cycles until the last one, meaning the financial crisis, got him. It was too violent, too fast, too crazy. And it took him down, right? And what he'd built for 40 years, of 40 plus year real estate career, just boom, imploded. Seemingly overnight, but it was pretty wild. So I'm glad everybody kind of remembers that. 2008 financial collapse. I became at that time an asset manager for a lot of the major banks because I had to help my dad consolidate his companies. So that was there. Now I had to go get a job, right? And I became an asset manager working for the banks, handling all of these foreclosures around the country. Where I was literally asset managing them, hiring the realtors, getting the cash for keys, the evictions, all the stuff that was going on with all the banks, all of them. It was wild times. But I did that for about 2 years. All the while, we went and bought that first condo in 2010. And then from this 2010 to 2020, I was a real estate broker selling houses, helping people buy and sell. All the meanwhile, we're trying to buy little properties. And we did. We bought some assets. And so it wasn't until 2018, and I'll show you this here, where we learned this game. These are some stories that happened that went on, AP News, Yahoo Finance, Mr. Papa Grande. But yeah, going through a pretty crazy bankruptcy back in that time. It was pretty crazy. Wild, wild, wild. But I always say, like, in moments of suffering, greatness is born, right? In moments of suffering, greatness is born. Because you learn a lot about yourself. You got to kind of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, realize that nobody's coming to save you. You got to go do it, make things happen for yourselves. And you can't just, expect other things to happen. You got to go make things happen. And that's how the world works. But 1 unit, 2010, that was the condo. 2018, we actually built a little, when I say we, my business partner, we built a little portfolio, about $3.5 million. We had, duplexes, triplexes, 4-unit properties. And we did it all with our own money. Remember I was talking about earlier, you either do option A, all with your own money, or option B, OPM game. Well, we didn't know the OPM game. We didn't know other people's money yet. All we knew was all our own money. So now we built this little portfolio, and it was great, right? But it was also all of our money was stuck in there, and we couldn't get it out. It wasn't very liquid. And we're sitting there going, well, we want to scale, we want to grow, we want to do more. We don't have any more money. So this is where change happened. Okay, this is where the change happened. And this, thank God I learned this, because I want you to watch the timeline from 2018 and 20 units and $3.5 million, of which we had 100% of. Okay, 100% of $3.5 million. Here's the value of OPM. Fast forward today, over 1,000 units, over $190 million, of which we own 40% of $190 million, or 100% of 3.5. You can do the math. So how does that work? You're leveraging your money. You're scaling your money. Our money with OPM, other people's money, to go from here to here. And that's the game. I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, that's why you do it. This was our first 10 to 30 unit apartment complex. Right? We bought this thing in 2018. Oops, 2018. This is what it looked like before. Nice little mid-century modern, a lot of brick, it's kind of a little rundown, 1965 property. Took it and made it like this. And this took about $350,000 in renovations to renovate it interior and exterior. Bought it like that. That was our first deal. in the multifamily space, okay? And I'll kind of show you financially how these deals break down and what it takes to make it happen, okay? The mindset, though, is key. The mindset is key. Who here actually believes they can pull this off? Without knowing all the details right now, who believes they can pull this off? Because anybody can, right? It just takes a mental commitment in your brain to say, I am going to make this happen. I am pissed off enough with my current situation and where I'm at. I know where I want to go. I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to make shit happen. Like, that's the attitude you need to have. Not like, doo-doo-doo. That ain't going to work. You're going to get clobbered, right? You got to say, mentally, I'm going. And I don't know how I'm going to get there yet, but I'm going to make it happen. And then the mindset shift starts to go. You're sending frequencies to the universe. The universe is going to line some stuff up for you. You need to pay attention to it. And I'll show you how this whole game of manifestation works. Now, here is the difference, and I'll, off topic for a second. Here's the difference between people where manifestation works for them and manifestation does not. You wish for things. We all do it. You could say it right now. I want to be a millionaire, or I'd like to own 40 units by the end of the year, or I would, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, you put it out. You send the frequency out. Now, this is the difference. You're sending the frequencies out. The universe is going to align things for you, and it is going to start to show you little broken doors. It's going to open. Let me give you a perfect example. Earlier this year, I said, hey, I would like to start doing small, what's called ADU, accessory dwelling unit developments around the college area in San Diego. Haven't done them before, but I wanted to get into that space in addition to what else we're doing. Didn't know how it was going to happen. I just said, I want to do this. I want to make this happen. I want to make things happen and get into some deals, blah, 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 around the college space. Sent the frequency out. Okay. Now, literally about a month and a half after that starts to happen, I'm in a doctor's office. I'm sitting in the waiting room. Okay. Pay attention, because this is how the universe starts to align things for you. Sitting there waiting to go back. Another gentleman walks in. He sits down kind of catty corner across the office room from me, and he's on his phone. So I can hear his conversation. And there's only he and I in there. And all of a sudden, I hear him talking about a property that he owns up around the college area in San Diego that he's trying to sell. And he's like, I think it's perfect for like a development deal. Maybe some ADUs you can put in the back, buy the front and develop it. And maybe I'll kind of joint venture with somebody that wants to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this property. Now, I had two options at that point. Remain silent and act like I didn't hear the conversation. Remember, the universe is cracking the door. You have two options. You got to pay attention, number one, then you have to take action, number two. So I paid attention, let him get off the phone, and I said, sir, I don't mean to prime in on your conversation, but I'm looking for stuff like that up around the college area. I don't know if it's the right fit, but I'd love to take a look. Would you be open? I'm going to be getting out of here. Let me get your number and stuff, and let's connect. Boom. You see how that works? But if you're not paying attention and you don't take action when it actually happens in the moment, that's where people miss it. Is they wish and wish and wish and pray, but then when the universe shows it to them, they're not paying attention, and then they don't take action. That's how manifestation works, right? You can't just wish and then it just shows up and miraculously plops on a silver platter. It's going to crack a door. It's going to allow you to walk through it, take the action, and go execute. It could be here. Who knows? Okay. But that's how it works. That's how it works. And that's a mindset game. So, how to buy a multifamily apartment building, 10 to 30 unit in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket. We got to get through a couple belief systems. Number one, the belief that you need a lot of money, okay? And I need that to get started. Belief number two that we need to crack through, that multifamily is too complex, right? It's for experts only. We got to crack through that one tonight. And then number three is the belief that deals, to find deals, it's too hard. And the market is oversaturated. It can't happen. It's too hard. So we're going to break through all three of these tonight. So let's talk about the first one, that you need a lot of money to get started. Remember, we're going to talk about the OPM game, other people's money, not all your money. So this is how the beauty works. So let's take a typical, let's say this is a 15-unit apartment building. $100,000 per unit. So that's about $1.5 million on the price. Okay. Let's say we're going to do some renovations to it, $100,000. And then we have closing costs. That's what CC stands for. Closing costs, $50,000. So a total of $1,650,000 total cost. Now you're going to go out and get a loan for 70%. Loan to cost. Getting that loan for $1,150,000 is easier than getting a $200,000 house loan. Why? It is a business, and that is how the bank looks at it, right? An apartment building is its own operating business. It has revenue, it has expenses, and it has a profit, also known as net operating income. And because of that, the bank can finance it, finance the asset. They're not financing you. You are secondary in the process, right? They're looking at the property first. Does the property meet our metrics? Great. Here's the money. We're throwing it out the front window as long as you are not a fraud. So what do you need? Decent credit score, over 600, right? Just reasonable. Over 600 credit. And then there's some other little financial things that pop in there, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. That's also why we keep you smaller, right? This is another reason I'm not sitting here saying, oh, go after a 50, 80, 100 plus unit deal in your first one, even though financially economies of scale make sense to do that. But there's no way in heck on your first one with no resume that you're going to be able to pull down a unit any bigger than 10 to 30 units for your first deal. That's why we keep you there. Make sense? So all this financial stuff. So now you got a $1,150,000 loan. Now you have 30%. That's your down payment. That's the equity. Now this is where most people stop because they say, well, shit, Justin, I don't have 500 grand. I know you don't. That's okay. Neither did we. This is where the game of OPM plays in. You are going to be bringing in about 10% of the money. You're going to be bringing that in. The OPM, other people's money. Now, who is OPM? It could be the seller financing creatively. It could be our fund, people in our community, friends and family, your network that we help you build. All these things happen in that place of OPM. All it means is it's not your money. It's other people's money. And then you're probably saying, well, how do I raise money? I don't know anybody with money. Nobody I know has money. All these things are probably, you're probably throwing them into your brain right now. Totally normal. Remember what I said earlier. Deal, debt, equity. Deal, debt, equity. If you can have a good deal, the money will find you. Meaning, if I came to all of you here tonight and I said, hey, I have this 15-unit apartment deal in Indianapolis, Indiana. Projected returns are 18 to 20% per year on your money. Minimum investment is $25,000 for you to get involved. You don't have to do any of the work, right? Your projected returns on that $25K minimum is 18 to 20% a year on your money. Who do you know that may have some interest? And your response to me is probably going to be like, I may know somebody. Can you send me some information, Justin? Absolutely, I can send you. I'm going to send you what's called the pitch deck. And that pitch deck is going to break the deal down. It's going to show you all the numbers, right? It's going to show you what your money gets, how long it's out, when you get it back, and what your total return is. It's going to break it all down. It's all templated and it's beautiful. And that way you have the deal. That's a great deal. It's going to attract the money in. And you don't notice how I answered. I didn't ask you, do you have the money? I asked, who do you know that may have the money? Because people know people that know people, period. I guarantee if you send an email out to 25 people, somebody knows somebody that has at least 25K. And they'll be like, yeah, I got 25K disposable. I can come into a deal like that, earn 20%, 18% on my money. No problem. It's real estate. Perfect. Cash flows, apartment complex. I can go touch it. It's brick. Sweet. Sign me up, Scotty. And I get all the tax breaks. I'm going to wipe out my taxable income for the rest of my human existence. Where do I find that one? Let's go. And that's how it works. That's the starting point. You're not asking for 500 grand. You're asking for $25,000 minimum investments. So you'll probably have on a deal of this size, right? You got $450,000 you're raising. That will be raised by about 5 to 7 people. 5 to 7 people in combinations of 25, 50, 150,000 bucks. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If this deal makes financial sense and is producing somewhere between 15 to 20% a year on their money, that will be raised in 5 to 7 people. It'll take about 2 weeks. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's why we stay relatively small. Even though that may seem like a large number, it's not. It's not. But that's how that works. Now, let's keep walking through it. So you're going to be bringing in 50K. Now, here's the cool part. Because you are what's called a syndicator, general partner, or also known as sponsor, right? You are kind of the big honcho. You're the one running the show. You're putting in a lot of work and effort to make this happen. Therefore, you get paid beautifully. One of the ways you get paid is what's called an acquisition fee. Does anybody know what an acquisition fee is? Susan, CC is closing cost. Closing cost. So that's probably lender fees. Your acquisition fee is in there. All kinds of other things are built into that closing cost, okay? Does anybody know bank earn more interest? What do you mean by that, Edgar? Curious. Uh, okay, so you know what an acquisition fee is. What that is as a general partner, you get paid that. It's one of the fees built into your closing cost that you get paid for putting the deal together for you and investors, OPM. So that's literally 50 grand's going in day one. The minute you close within 7 days, that in this case would be 2%, right? Or actually, we could probably do 2 to 3%. It's usually 2 to 3%. So this would be a $30,000 acquisition fee. So if I put in 50K and within a week of closing that escrow, I get $30,000 back. How much am I out of pocket? 20,000 bucks. Physically out of pocket. Physically out of pocket. And I'm going to run through a couple case studies here in a few minutes to show you exactly how that breaks down. Okay. But that's from a high level. So you're out of pocket 10% of the money. You get 40% of the deal. You get an acquisition fee for $30,000. So you're only out of pocket 20K and you have control of a 15-unit multi-million-dollar asset. Just like that for $20,000 out of pocket. You couldn't even go buy a single family house for that. And you know that. And we haven't even talked about the tax benefits yet. Because I can wipe out all of your incomes for the rest of your human existence. I can wipe them all out. Guaranteed. Through this process. I'll show you how it works if you guys want. Heard about acquisition, think it's the payment for finding the deal. Part of that, Ann. Part of that. That's right. I mean, finder's fee is different per se. Acquisition fees for all of the stuff you're putting together to kind of find the deal, analyze it, finance, raise the capital, structure it, close it, and manage it, right? You're not managing it. You're going to hire the managers. But that whole process that you're going through to acquire the asset, hence acquisition fee, is why you get paid that. That's why it's there. Okay, so you don't need a lot of money, right? You need a little bit of money here, then you get a rebate here, so you're really out of pocket 20K. But yeah, do you need 30 to 50K, 20 to 50K? Yeah, you do. The whole idea of having no money in real estate, I appreciate all the gurus in the world trying to teach you that fugazi BS. And yes, is it technically possible? Yeah, but a meteor could hit us tomorrow too. Technically possible. It's just not likely, okay? You're not doing it with no money out of pocket. I'm sorry. So if you think you're coming in with no money down and you're going to pull this game off, you need to do another type of real estate investing until you can get to a point where you have $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to invest to control the deal, because you're going to make big money with this, right? So that's why a lot of people, they'll start, right, in some single family, because single family leads to this game, right? But, you know, listen, if you have 30 to 50K available to you, then this is the game you should be playing, right? It shouldn't be your last 30 to 50K, but if you have 30 to 50K that you can play with and invest into real estate, this is the game to go after, okay? There's huge benefits to it, specifically if you know how to execute this plan. So the fact that you need a lot of money is just not true, okay? But here's a couple frequently asked questions I get from folks. Justin, I want to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month in income from this investment type. How many deals do I need to do to make that happen? The answer is 3 to 4. 3 to 4 multifamily deals in the 10 to 30 unit space will get you that on a monthly basis, so that way you can make a decision to leave your current job. Because that's how I get a lot of people coming through. They're like, hey, at some point, maybe 2 to 3 years from now, I want to have a decision to make. But I want to have that rocking and rolling for me, so that way I can go tell my boss to go pound sand. You see where I'm going with it? So 3 to 4 deals on average, right? 10 to 30 unit space. It's going to produce that on average per deal on a month, free cash flow into your pocket. So when you calculate that out, 3 to 4 deals can get you this space, okay? So that is FAQ that I get a lot. Number 2, how much time is needed each week? I'm busy, Justin. I got a job, I got kids, I got family, I got soccer, I got all this crap going on. How do I find the time for this? The answer is 5 to 10 hours a week. That's how you execute this plan. When I got started, I was full-time real estate agent, okay? 10 hours a day, 100% commissioned. Come home, family time, kids, spend a couple hours doing that. Kids go to bed. Daddy's on the computer right around 8:30 at night for a couple hours, looking for deals, analyzing them, writing offers. Looking for deals, analyzing them, writing offers until, boom, got the first one. And that is literally the process. And then once I had the first one, got my teeth wet on that one. Now that went to the second one, And I'm like, holy grail, this is incredible. We need to go put some more zeros on this thing and go bigger. But it wasn't until the third deal. So that is that FAQ number 2. So the belief that you need a lot of money is just not the case. So if you found a 20-unit deal that made financial sense in the next 90 days, do you have access? And I asked you this on the street. Do you have access to 20 to 50,000 bucks right now, today? If you found this deal next week, could you go do this? Chime in yes in the chat if you could pull this off. If you can't, not a problem yet. It's okay. But it's kind of, because this is how the game works. So if you got that, then you could actually execute the plan. Okay? You could pull this off. So you're going to come in with 20 to 50K. You're going to get a 40% of the deal. You're going to get an acquisition fee of $30,000. You get paid 5 to 8 ways when you own multifamily. And I'm going to get into those here in just a bit. So when you go, think about it. When you go invest in single family, you're getting paid 1 to 2 ways, right? You get some cash flow maybe, then you get some profits. Or if you're flipping the house, just a profit. Or if you're doing short-term rental, you get some rental income, and then you get some benefits here, and then you sell it, you get 2 ways there. When you're doing multifamily, you're getting paid 5 to 8 ways while you own it, right? There's more zeros to go around, bigger pie to play. That's why the game works. You get paid handsomely for working hard. Think of yourself like this. The skill set that you would learn going through this and all the nitty-gritty, you're basically becoming a neurosurgeon for apartments. You're becoming a hedge fund manager for apartments. It's a highly valuable skill set. People ask me, well, how do you make more money? I said, increase your skill set. I said, your income right now that you're making, I want you to think through this for a minute in terms of what you make right now annually. Your income is directly related to the problems that you solve for society. Let that sink in for a minute. Your income is directly related to the problems that you solve for society. So if you solve $1,000 problems right now, that's why you're making thousands of dollars. If you solve $100,000 problems, that's why you're making 6 figures. If you solve $1 million problems, that's why you get to make millions. It's a very valuable skill set. You're not doing this to go make pennies. You're doing this to get rich. That's why you do it. And then when you get rich, it's not the money, right? It's what the money can do for you. It gives you choices. So then now more of that passive type money, because nothing's truly passive, more of the passive type money gets you more time with your family, gets you more trips to travel on, and you're making money while you sleep. That's what everybody's searching for, the generational wealth, right? The financial freedom, all those things. It has to happen. But you have to get more passive, right? It's never fully passive, but more passive with the money to where it's not always transactional, time for money active. You want more passivity. That's what happens. What's the average cash on a 15 to 20 unit door investment? 6 to 10% a year, Alvaro. 6 to 10% a year. So on a, like you just said, 10 to 30 unit deal, $2,500 to $4,000 a month to you, not total, just to you personally on those types of deals per month. Okay. So the fact that you need a lot of money to get started, it just is not true. And I just showed you that, literally how you can do this with $20,000 to $50,000 ready to rock and roll. And it sounds like most of you can do that. So you can execute this thing. So the belief that multifamily is too complex and it's for experts only is not for them. I mean, these folks are probably just like you, right? 9-to-5ers, business owners, entrepreneurs, some real estate agents, some high-income earners, doctors, attorneys, dentists, AI tech people in the tech industry, even in aerospace, military contracting, all the above, firefighters, first responders, right? People that are maybe, doing $80,000 a year or more. It's kind of what we see on average, $80,000 a year or more. So you have some disposable income, which is kind of what sounds like everybody's here for that. So then with that, you can execute the plan, and then it's just learning it. So it's not too complex. It's completely a learned skill set. I mean, taking example, Hayden and Matt, right? This is a perfect one. Hayden, former realtor, Matt, kind of a tech guy. This is how their history's been here. First deal was 10 units in Arizona. Second deal was a 28 unit in Arizona. Third deal was a 33 unit they just closed in Kansas City, Missouri. That's how they got going, and they set it up. They did it together. So some people do it alone. Some people come in a little pair like that. Either way, that's Hayden and Matt. That's just one of many, many, many examples. Steve Parker, right? General contractor in the Midwest. He did his first deal in Cleveland, Ohio, 39-unit deal. He got a full tax abatement on that thing. It's a mid-rise building. Cleveland wanted to actually do a bunch of redevelopment in this area, so they came in and gave him a massive tax subsidy for property taxes. So you got 100% property tax abatement for a certain number of years. It was smoking deal. So he did that. General contractor, nothing sexy, but it wasn't too complex for him. It was not too complex for him. And then Brian, this is one of my cool fun stories, is a dog walker. Right, has a dog walking training company. His first deal was a 22-unit in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right, it wasn't too complex for a dog walker. This is his most recent deal he's doing right now, a 53-unit in Oklahoma as well. It's his wife. He's got a baby as well, a couple dogs. I mean, typical. He's from Los Angeles, California, by the way. So any of the LA people here in Cali, straight out of LA. So and he went to the Midwest. He went out of state. So I mean, I'm like a specialist in out-of-state investing. If you need to invest afar, I'm your guy, right? Because I was in San Diego investing in the Midwest. That was our first deals. I understand exactly how to set it all up, manage from afar if you're not in state. Much easier if you're in a market that's a great market already. You don't have to go anywhere. It's in your backyard, right? But that's how that worked. You kind of can see how this works, right? And over 200 other people, hundreds of millions of dollars in multifamily owned currently within the community. And people are doing it. They're executing. Anybody know, these are some of our Trustpilot reviews. So you can go on Trustpilot and take a look at Multifamily Schooled. That's our company. And you can read all these, right? It's all here. It's all here. Does anybody know any of these faces? And this isn't to name drop, but this is just to kind of show what happens. None of these people were experts, including myself. You got, I don't know if you know Brandon Turner, the guy's awesome from Bigger Pockets. And now he has his own stuff, Ryan Pineda. Then you got Mr. Uncle G, Grant Cardone. This is Robert Martinez, apartment rock star out of Houston, amazing guy. Carlos Reyes, incredible human. Started flipping houses. Now he owns like 7 or 8 different businesses, and he does a lot of multifamily stuff now too, but he's still big and heavy in wholesaling and flipping. Okay, but yeah, none of these people were experts. They had to learn it, right? So the belief that multifamily is too complex and for experts only, it's just not the case. It's just not the case. Because 2 things are going to happen. Cash equity or the sweat equity. Does anybody know what sweat equity is? I know you've heard the term, but throw in some kind of words in your mind as to what sweat equity is. Because if you're going to go play this game of multifamily or commercial real estate, you're bringing one of the two, maybe both of them, but one of the two to the table. And for most everybody on this call, based on what you answered earlier, most people are bringing sweat equity. This is how I got started, because I did not have a lot of the cash. So I had to kind of like show my value by bringing some money, a little bit of money, a lot of this, some of that. And that's how I was able to grow. But you have to bring something to the table. If you don't have knowledge and skill sets, remember, your income is directly related to the problems you solve. This is how you do it. You have to increase your game of skill set and knowledge, because you may not have a lot of that. So you need a lot of that. And this is easier to get over that first. And then now we bring both to the table. Make sense? Doing the work, how do you find deals? Brad, we will get into that in just a second. There's only 2 ways to find deals: direct to broker, direct to owner. Direct to broker, direct to owner. And I'll show you both those methods here in just a second. Stay tuned. Great question. Okay, so the belief, right, that's too complex and you need to be an expert, not true. Are you guys sold on that one? Did I dispel that kind of false pattern that you need to be an expert? You can't learn this. Chime up, thumbs up if you feel good with that one, and that you can learn this if you know how to do it. Okay, great. Now the last one, the deals, and this kind of goes into you, Brad, deals are hard to find and the market is oversaturated. Well, if you do it alone, that's true. But there's only 2 ways to find deals: direct to broker or direct to owner. Which way, when you're newer like most of you, which way do you believe is the best method when you're getting started? So yes, the answer is direct to broker. And the reason why it's direct to broker is because the broker is doing all the work. They're already out there in the marketplace dialing for dollars for people like me, seeing if I'd like to sell my properties. They're sending us letters. They're dialing. They're knocking doors. They're doing all of the grunt work that you would be doing here They're already doing it for you. So now the key is to find the good brokers. And then how do you get access to those brokers behind the scenes? So they're going to show you what they call the pre-market, off-market inventory. Does anybody know websites like Crexi or LoopNet? Crexi or LoopNet or CoStar? Crexi, LoopNet, or CoStar. This is how the game works. Let me see. In terms of finding deals, okay? When a property comes to market, this is the process that a property takes, right? The broker calling me, or an owner, okay? We own the building. Broker calls and gets us to say, yeah, we'll sell our property. Sweet. So then the broker puts together what's called a BOV. This is called a broker opinion of value, BOV, broker opinion of value. All that tells me is what they think my property's worth. And then I agree to that. I say, check, looks good. So then they put together a marketing package. Okay? Marketing package. And they distribute that to about 25 to 50 investors that the broker knows. And then that's called pre-market. Okay? 80 to 90% of all the deals will sell right here. They will never make it to the websites that I just mentioned to you. If they do not sell here, then the broker puts it on the website. So this is why when you're on Crexi and you're frustrated because none of the deals make any sense and or there's not enough of them, you get frustrated and say the deals are hard to find and the market's oversaturated. It's because you are only seeing about 30% of the actual inventory. I literally just showed this to one of our community members today. He was looking in Indiana, just to kind of show you. Indiana, right? So we pulled it up, the whole state. There's 189 properties on Crexi.com for multifamily. And he's like, dude, the whole state, 189? That's not many. Holy crap, how am I going to find any deals? And I said, bro, 180 divided by 0.3 is what? And he's like, I think that's 490, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing that math correct. So 180 divided by 0.3. Sorry, 600. Clearly, I can't do math anymore. So 180 divided by 0.3. Just make sure I got that right. Yep, 600. So this is the actual deals. Except 180 of them are here. The rest of them are over here. You just never got a chance to see them because they all sold here. So now the game becomes, great, Justin, how do I become part of that? And this is where the game of direct to broker approach, and you have to learn this, of how you get behind the scenes to get access to this here before it gets here. Does that make sense? Brad, does that help answer your question? Granted, there's nuance to that. That's what you learn. But that is literally the what and the why of how that game happens. But that is how this works. Okay, that is how this works. Yeah, you can call them pocket listings or just understanding how the game of commercial real estate works. And this goes across the board. This is not just for multifamily. This also goes for office buildings, storage facilities, mobile home parks. I mean, the name keeps going, right? They start here, and if they don't sell here, they move here. So this is why you look at these websites and you're like, everything's overpriced. There's not enough deals. The market's oversaturated. None of this works. I'm getting frustrated. And you give up. That's because you're not realizing that this is where the game happens. And you know this is where the game happens. All of you on here know this. The question is, how do I get there? And how do we get access to it? And that's the process you have to learn. Okay? So that is that approach. Okay? The direct-to-broker approach. So you're going to leverage the brokers, their on-market listings from Crexi.com, LoopNet, or CoStar to get access to their off-market opportunities. You're using their listings as lures, right? To meet them, to tour the properties, build relationships, and get access. So when you go on Crexy and LoopNet and CoStar, you're not going on there to find deals. You're going on there to find brokers. Flip the switch. That's what you use the websites for. But that is the direct-to-broker approach. Then you have the direct-to-owner approach, and that's where our software comes in. So we developed a software a few years ago with some developers called realestateradar.ai. It's an AI-based software. It takes public data, overlaying AI on top of it. All the commercial properties in the United States, about 170 million properties. A lot of multifamily, does single family, does all kinds of different property types. But it's allowing you to go into markets, and rather than going to the online stuff and using online market stuff, it's pulling up all of the off-market inventory and allowing you to market directly to them. Text messaging, phone calls, postcards, letters. If you want to go door knock, it's fine. It'll give you phone numbers to call and dial, all that stuff, right? And it allows you to put it into pipelines and organize it, do all kinds of stuff to it, okay? Analyze them, all that stuff. Realestateradar.ai. And that's our software. That's what we use to go direct to owner. So we will wholesale multifamily. We use our software to wholesale multifamily, and then our community uses it. They get full access to it, to run it and do it. So you can get access to try that out tonight for coming in. I'll show you that in just a minute. So the fact that deals are hard to find, the market's oversaturated, it's just not true. It is if you do it alone, though. If you try and do it alone without help, without software, without opportunities to learn it, then yes. But if you do it together in community, deals are a lot easier. Partnerships happen. That's how deals are found. Multifamily is not a game of solopreneur. It's a game of collective, collaboration and partnerships, community. That's how multifamily works. Yes, nice. Can't you get that from the title company? Brad, you can, if you want to go that route. It's a little more tenuous. You'll spend more time, or you can have a simple login. You can just go get it all at one time on your own terms, 24/7. And it'll do a lot of the deal finding for you too, because it has AI built into it. So what it actually does, I'll give you a perfect example. If you looked up a property and it was 123 East Street and you really liked it, but you couldn't get in touch with the owner. You couldn't get in touch with anybody. God, you're frustrated. But I would love to find other deals like this. Just don't know how. There's literally a button that says, testing AI or AI tracker. It'll actually go and find similar properties within a certain radius that match the parameters of that property using AI to overlay on the public data to do it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, because that's where everything's going. It's right. AI it's taking over. We all know this. So the difference between single family versus multifamily. Remember I told you earlier the ways you get paid? Single family, you're paid 1 to 2 ways. It's monthly cash flow and profits. That's great. Then you come over here to multifamily, you're getting all of this, plus you're getting this. So you'll get the cash flow, the profits, the acquisition fees, asset management fees. So that's for managing the managers. Remember, you're having this third party managed by a property management company, but you're getting paid to manage the managers, all built into the cost. Tax benefits are huge. You get fees when you sell it. Finder's fees for finding it. That's different than acquisition. Construction management, if you're renovating the property, you get a construction management fee during renovation. Multiple ways you get paid, which is why this is so lucrative. This is why you put in the effort to do this. Once again, you're solving big problems. Your income is directly related to those problems. Because of that, you get to get rich. So let me give you a case study. This was a 31-unit deal that I had $19,000 out of pocket of my own money physically into the deal by the end of it. Or actually, I'd just say after a week into it. Let me show you how this works. So 31 units, we bought it for $1,525,000. We did $400,000 in renovation to it. We had closing cost of $225,000. All in cost on the deal, $2.15 million. $2.15 million. This is how we broke it down. The loan, 70%. $1.5 million on the loan. Easier than getting a house loan because the property did all the financing. I brought in 64 grand. 10%, right? 10% of the equity I brought in. I got 40% of the deal for that. 90% came in from other people's money. This was actually 7 people. 7 people brought in $581,000. I got an acquisition fee of 45 grand. 64 came out, right? 45 came back. I had $19,000 out of pocket physically and had control and ownership of a 31-unit multi-million-dollar apartment building for $19,000. You tell me where else you can pull that one off, and I'd love to look at it. But that's rare, okay? But this is how the game is played. This is just using OPM. Because remember, the reason why you're getting those percentages and all these things are happening, because remember the sweat equity, cash equity thing I was talking about earlier? You're bringing a lot of sweat equity. You're bringing a skill set on how to actually do this. It's very valuable to people with money. See, you're bringing sweat or cash or both. But most people bring sweat, which is the knowledge and the ability to execute this game at a high level and make people, including yourselves, a lot of money. That's why it's valuable. So 31 units. What did I get? 24 months later, okay, we took the value from 1.5 up to 3.6 million. For renovations, increasing the rents, value add, right? That's the whole BRRRR method stuff you're talking about. So we pulled out a $2.5 million loan on that 3.6. We paid off the $1.5 million that we had before. We paid back all of our equity. So all the investors, including myself, got all of our money back, okay? And then additionally, we pocketed another $355,000 tax-free. Did you know that debt is tax-free? Did you know that? Chime in the chat if you knew that debt is tax-free. When you take out debt, it is tax-free money. This is how the wealthy use debt to grow wealth. It's really, really, really key. It's good debt and bad debt, guys. Good debt and bad debt. We've been taught a facade that debt's bad. No, 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 no. Credit card debt's bad. Consumer debt that you don't pay off and you buy stupid shit with, that's bad debt. Good debt is leveraging against assets that are appreciating, and it's fixed rate interest rates against assets that appreciate using inflation to do it. That's how you get really wealthy. So yes, yes, yes. Perfect. So you understand that. Love it. I got an asset management fee of 1% per month on the revenue being generated by the property from managing the managers. 40% of all the profits and all the cash flow monthly from this property. So $2,000 a month for 5 years. That's 120 grand. My net profits from the sale were another 470,000. So I made 590,000 on $19,000 out of pocket. And that's not abnormal. A lot of sweat equity, a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill set. That's why I got it. It's not because I didn't do anything, did a lot of work. But if I don't have a lot of cash, you bring a lot of sweat equity, and that's how you execute. And you all told me earlier that you believe you can do this, and you can. You can do it, right? Remember that whole thing we went through earlier? You can do this. You can pull this off, right? Stop worrying about all the how for a minute and just have a belief that I'm going to make this happen, and we're going to go, okay? So that is literally what happened, okay? So I remember I told you my promise to you this evening was how to buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket. Did I succeed in that? I think I did. Hope I did. Did I dispelage the belief that you don't need a lot of money to get started? I think we did that. You told me that I dispelled the belief that multifamily is too complex in experts. You don't need to be an expert. Showed you that one. And then lastly is that deals are hard to find and the market is oversaturated. If you do it alone, that is the case. If you do it in community, if you do it in collaboration, do it with either softwares or learning the process direct to broker, deals are not hard to find. They're abundant. It's just knowing how to get there and learning that process. So that's key. That's key. So frequently asked questions real quick, and then we'll finish up. We'll finish up. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Only in America. Hold on. Let me look at a couple of these questions real quick for everybody as we finish up here. Okay. When you're using OPM, what are your investors making? 15 to 20% a year on their money. 15 to 20% a year on their money. Do they get a portion of the profits? Yes. If the property sold, only a month income profit. No, they get both. They get cash flow and profits, and tax benefits, Okay, all the above. You're paying the LPs out in full at a refi, or they get a piece of equity. Depends on the refinance, Sherry. So if the value goes up enough to where the refinance would pay everybody out, then yes, everybody will get paid out. If it's not quite enough, then they'll get paid a portion, and then they'll stay in the deal and still earn on the money left in. Can we get a copy of this video since missed part of it? Yes, you can. Takes about 3 to 5 days, and we'll put it up on YouTube for you and get a replay. What is the difference between pro forma cap rate and cap rate? Well, pro forma cap rate, you can finagle because you can put in whatever numbers you want and it'll give you whatever numbers you want. A actual cap rate is based on true financials today, right now, actuals that are backed up by bank statements, real numbers, real data, real everything. Okay. That is true cap rate. Okay. That's the difference. So FAQs, what if you can't find a good deal? I get that. Well, our community, we have a guarantee. We're going to give you one. So the way that it works with us is because we have our deal finding software, we have what's called deals on demand. So I have our team scouring for deals. We're wholesaling deals all the time around the country. Some of them we take, some of them we give out. If we can't help people find a deal that makes financial sense in their first 90 days, we give you one. And we do that through our deals on demand program. So that way, finding a good deal, it's going to happen. It's just a timing issue. How do you raise money legally and confidently? How do you raise money legally and confidently? Raising money sounds intimidating. I totally get it, especially with SEC rules and stuff like that that may be involved. People fear asking other people for money. Who here fears asking people for money? Think about that. You don't need to be. What I need you to do is flip the switch. You're not asking for anything. You're giving them an opportunity. Remember, everybody wants to invest in real estate. That's not your problem. You just need a deal that makes financial sense to then attract the money in. Because people want to do it. They just need a deal that makes sense and they need to like and trust you. That's the process. So people fear asking people for money. You're really just giving people an opportunity. It's the wrong way to feel about it, okay? You need three things. You need a deal that makes sense. You need a good pitch deck to describe what the deal is and a process to accept the money in when somebody says, hey, I'd like to give you 25 grand for that deal. That's just the process. But that is the process of raising money in a nutshell. Another one. What if I mess up the numbers? That's why you have someone teach you how to do it, and more importantly, have someone review those numbers with you before you're making offers. So you don't look like a dimwit. All right. So yes, I agree. As you're learning it, yeah, you don't want to mess up the numbers. I agree. That's why you do it and look and have people review those things with you, even if it's in a community, whether it's us or others, doesn't really matter. But yeah, having people review your numbers and helping you get started to avoid money mistakes is really, really key. I agree. Who's going to manage the property? A third-party management company. So you will find them in the process of setting up whatever you're doing. Third-party management, if you're doing it in your backyard, much easier to find. If you're going out of state, that's what I set up. That's what I did when I got started. Not that hard. It's just a process, okay? But a third-party management company, because you have a day job. I'm presuming all of you have careers and day jobs and things you're spending 8, 9, 10 hours a day at. You can't be managing toilets and tenants every day. So that has to be managed. You're going to be an asset manager, right? It's going to give you time back, and you're going to be paid for being an asset manager. That's part of the process. Okay. Okay. So, question for you guys. Let me show you this. So, two things. Number one, would you like to dive into this further? If you would like to do that, I have a 3-day event coming up at the end of this month on the 24th through the 26th. The 24th through the 26th. It's a 3-day workshop with me where we're going to dive into grave detail, like grave detail, workbooks. You're going to get all the weeds, all the how, and all that stuff, how to actually execute this plan on a 3-day workshop. Would anybody be interested in that? It's not bad. So just so you know what it is, it's $97. That gets you into the 3-day event and all the stuff with it. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have little windows in there. Get involved. It'd be amazing. If you want to learn this, and now is the time. I mean, all of you said in here, I want to make this happen. I want to get these units. I want to make this happen. Well, listen, if you're in the same position 12 months from now on the same webinar, I'm going to kick you in the forehead. Because you, not literally, you know the point. I want you to grow. You need to make this happen. This is why you do this. But you take steps to make that happen. You take action to make it happen. You put the frequencies out and you allow the universe to come meet you. That's how things get done, right? No one's coming to save you. If you want this, you got to go get it. And so we are having this simple 3-day event. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. If you'd like to come to it, that's what it is. And you'll love it. Day 1, we're going to go through all the foundations and the fear crushers. Day 2, we're diving into details on deal flow, creative financing, all the tax-free wealth, how you actually do that and structure it. Day 3 is the execution. That's the capital raising. It's the scaling, how you actually put it together, all the finding, analyzing, raising capital, structure from closing, and then managing those deals from in-state or from afar. In-state or from afar. Who are your mentors? I have a mentor I've had for now 6 years. He's actually become a partner of mine now. He used to be Grant Cardone's old partner and broker back in the day in the early 2000s in San Diego, where Grant Cardone started his multifamily career. So that's who my mentor is. My problem will be finding investors. No, it won't, Kim. Your problem is going to be finding good deals. You think it's going to be investors. It's not. It's not. You'd be shocked. I can't tell you the number of people. If I had a quarter for every single time, if I had a dollar for every time somebody told me that they don't know anybody with money, I mean, I probably wouldn't even need to do this anymore. I'd just be a gazillionaire. No, your problem is finding good deals. The deals will find the investors for you. Trust me. It's just a process. A good deal will attract the money. All right, it'll attract the money. So you don't need to worry about that. That will find itself. After the 3-day workshop, will we know what we need to make our first deal? Yes, you will. Will you need to subscribe to a service from your company? No, you will not. No, you'll have all the details you'll need at that point to take it. Of course, there's always more stuff you can get and learn, of course, but you don't need that per se. Okay. So you'll get a lot of stuff on that 3-day workshop. You get workbooks for it, all the breakdowns. We're going to spend time going through every aspect of multifamily investing on how you find deals, how you analyze them, how you finance structure, creatively finance structure, put them all together, whether it's your money, other people's money, seller financing, you name it. Then we'll get into how you close them, do due diligence properly, inspections, both physical and financial inspections on the properties, close those escrows, legally and financially structure them, put them together, and then how do you manage them once you're done? And put all that together with property management companies. And how do you hire them and hire them right? So you'll get all that as part of it. The times range, it'll be from 9-8. Once again, click that link because it'll give you all the details. Susan, if you click that link, it's going to open up into the page. It's going to go through the itinerary, the times, everything, what you're going to get, all of that. It's in grave detail there for you. But I'm super excited about it. It's going to be incredible. Join me. I'll be the one teaching it with our team. It's going to be awesome. Mig, in the example that you mentioned, the money that you pulled out in the refi, you took 40% and the others took 60%. Correct. Correct. So the way that it breaks down, Mig, just so you understand. So let's say break it up into twos, okay? Because you really have two aspects of it. You have cash flow, and then you have profits, okay? Now, the typical split, right, is general partner, let's call it 40%. Limited partner, let's call that 60%, okay? That's what you're talking about. So what will happen first on cash flow is it comes, let's say it was $10,000 in cash flow for simple math, right? You would actually have what's called a preferred return. We're not going to get into the details of this tonight. A preferred return of probably 6 to 8%. That goes to the limited partner investors, of which you're actually a part of, by the way. You're a part of your limited partnership. Once again, if you want to learn the details, 3-day. Like we're going to get into all this. Preferred return comes out first, then it splits 40-60. That is how the cash flow game will work. Profits will come out like this. You're going to pay back investment first, right? So you get your money back, the investors get their money back. Once that's paid, then it splits 40-60. Cash flow and profits. That's how, from a high level, that'll break down for you. Once again, we have deal analyzers that you get that does all those for you. You don't have to sit here and figure it out manually. So, will the 3-day course be recorded for us to review later? If you do the VIP package, yes, it will. If you just come on to it, you'll be there and you'll get it while you're there. We'll have a bunch of downloads and stuff for you. Yes, you'll get workbooks and all that stuff there. But there's two different packages. The $97 just covers the general mission per se, but you're going to get all that stuff. If you do want everything recorded where you can take it with you, yes, we do have a VIP option for you on that. Same thing will happen if you sell. Correct. That is right. So Mig, yeah, when you go sell the property, that's the profit side of it. Yes, that's how those splits will happen there as well. Good question. Good question. So yeah, who's interested in the 3-day? Put your thumbs up if you're interested in the 3-day. And don't be shy. You have to take advantage of it. You should all come on there. It'll be amazing. Trust me. It'll be the best 3 days you've ever spent, and you'll walk away from it going, I mean, if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, if this was helpful for you, just imagine if we're spending 3 days together and you're really learning this thing A to Z and able to take it and go execute. That would be incredible, right? So we can make that happen. How much is the VIP? It'll have it on that link, Carol, when you go through it. I believe it is $197. Okay? $197. So that's for the VIP. I'm signed up. This is a no-brainer, guys. Awesome, Sean. Great to see. Rock and roll. What are the hours for the classes, Shelly? You'll see that on the link. There's actually a full itinerary for you if you break it down. It starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which would be what, 10, 11, 12, noon East Coast. And it's set up to go for about 4 to 5 hours, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have breaks and stuff in there. Don't worry about that. But you'll see the full itinerary. If you go on that link and scroll on down, you'll see each day's itinerary. Okay. Yeah, thank you for coming in tonight. I hope it was a super helpful and value to kind of give you a high level of how this game works. Listen, I wish I could take my brain and everything that I know and like pick it up and put it in you. Because if you knew what I knew, and I understand your hesitations just in general, because I had them, but I had to break through them. I had to like literally say, you know what? No, Justin, enough is enough. I'm done with dealing with what I'm dealing with and the pain of being in that, either the job or whatever you're doing. And you're like, I want more. Okay. But there has to be enough pissed offness to have that happen where you're like, I'm going to go and make it happen. And I'm just going to allow the how to show up and I'm going to make it happen. Period. End of story. This is what I want. And I'm going to go for me, for my family, for my kids, for what I want for the remainder of my life. Let's rock and roll, baby. That is kind of, that's the mentality. That gets you excited and let's go. Let's go. If someone wanted to start by bringing great multifamily deals to you, do you have a program that allows people to do that? John, we do. So people inside of because we have a mentorship program and a community. So people inside there, some people are just great deal finders, right? And they get paid to be deal finders if that's something that people do. But it all happens inside the community. But other than that, I mean, we could talk privately on that separately if that was of interest to you. But yeah, you could hear about it too. If you come on the 3-day, we can talk there as well. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. But yeah, that we do that because we're always looking for deals for us, our community members, people inside there that are doing deals, what you're trying to do here. Because remember, the most important part is finding good deals. Because once you find a good deal, raising the money is not that hard. It's just not, right? The deal is the hardest part. Because if the deal makes financial sense, I mean, think about it for a minute, because I want you to understand how the game of money works. People in the stock market are earning, on average, 8.2% a year. Up, down, up, down, up, down, but on average, 8.2% a year. Other investment vehicles, 7, 8, 9%-ish, has liquidity to it, some other benefits, drawbacks, depending on if you're in crypto, commodities, whatever it is you're in, 401ks, IRAs, all that stuff. So it's that mentality that's in those investment vehicles. And what you're saying is you're going to pull money out of that. The only way that's going to happen is if you have a return that's somewhere in that 15 to 20% per year range. For you to take the money from here and move it over into here, take it from a highly liquid investment over into real estate, which is still liquid, but not as liquid, pretty protected, medium level risk, tons of benefits to it, not just from cash flow and profits, but the tax benefits are outrageous. I mean, I'm literally going to show you on this 3-day event how you can wipe out your taxes, your income taxes for the rest of your life. Think about that for a minute. Whatever it is you're doing now, if you think about the bill you pay to Uncle Sam, whether that comes out of your paycheck on Fridays or you pay it right when you pay it, think about that amount of money. And if I could show you how to wipe that out by using this to do it for the remainder of your human existence, it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. Because then you can go tell your employer to go pound sand, don't take anything out of my check, because I'm going to go do it myself. Because now I'm in the game of multifamily, I'm an investor, and how I can utilize the mechanisms of real estate, cost segregation, and bonus depreciation to wipe out all the taxable gains. That's the holy grail. And we can do it on both capital gains and ordinary income if you do it right. Will signed up. Beautiful, Edgar. Don't will sign up. Sign up. Don't hesitate, baby. Mine's got to go. You just got to let that frontal cortex make it happen for you. Okay? Right? Because, I mean, procrastination, as they say, is the killer of dreams. The killer of dreams. Because we all want to do it. The only thing holding you back, I always say, is the 7 inches between your ears. Right? The 7 inches between your ears. That is, hey, like, am I going to stop myself here, or am I going to let myself go? Am I going to hold myself back by all of these preconceived notions and beliefs, false belief patterns, or are we going to lock and load and make it happen? So this is where it happens. So awesome, everybody. Well, hey, signing out. Hope this was fun for you, and it was good and insightful. And hopefully we will see you there. If not, not a problem. We will send you all of the checks we make. No, I'm just kidding. No, I really appreciate everybody coming on tonight. I hope this was helpful. I know it's 9:30 p.m. East Coast time, so I'll let you head back to your families and get some rest. Take care. Thanks, everybody.